About what?
Just period. Do you want to start it?
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, do you want to record a podcast tonight? Because we can.
And that what?
I mean, we're already here, so we might as well.
That what the plan was?
I mean, God, that is so loud. It's like you're fucking. God. God, I would have laughed if you actually got the microphone in there.
All right, let's go. I got shit to do tonight.
Well, we're here. Episode
Live.
5.
Episode 5.
Okay. Well, it's good talking to you.
Yeah. All right, we're good. We're done.
That's all. I mean, there's no need to go any further than that, really.
No, we need to. I think we need to do like a regular basis thing. Like we should do it on certain nights. I think.
Okay. You think
Like
that we can both schedule that? I mean, my schedule is pretty jam-packed.
you're
But
pretty much free. Yeah, I think we can. I think
okay,
we can.
we could do that. I think people would probably appreciate that.
Do we want to talk about the name?
The name?
We have come up with a name.
We have finally come up with a name. Our first name, I think we should probably address that first, was the Cheetos and Oatmeal podcast, and you came up with that name. So
I did. I like Cheetos, and you eat nothing but oatmeal.
I eat oatmeal every day, every morning. It doesn't taste that great, but it's supposed to be good for you. Our listeners can tell us if that's true or not. I don't care if it's true or not. I'm still gonna eat it every day. But
But what if it ends up not being good for you?
oh well, man, whatever.
And it tastes terrible.
Yeah, that would be a bummer. That would be kind of a that'd be a bummer.
So the new name is the Reseller. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was in the middle. I was in the middle of saying it.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Reseller Collab. I like it. I like the logo. Looks good.
The logo is nice, and the name fits because it's a collaboration.
It is.
And
It
I
is.
think from all the other names that we kind of went through, like this is the one that really, like, I guess not only does it summarize what we actually do, and it also, like, from an outside perspective, if you're not in the game and you don't know what's kind of the whole reseller culture, it's something that might
Yeah.
catch your attention. Like Reseller Collab, like
Yeah.
what's
What
that?
is that? Look at these ugly guys on the thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to watch that.
Yes.
Yeah. No. It's gonna be good. I like the name. I like the logo. I like that we're doing this, and I don't think we've even really introduced ourselves to the audience yet. I'm Aaron. You're Jeff, and we've been friends for what? God, almost 18 years now.
Jeez, has it been that long?
Yeah.
God,
So I guess about 2001, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Good
17
Lord.
years. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But so I am a full-time reseller. I worked at a job for 11 years. I liked the job. I didn't too much care for the people that I worked with, but I liked the job itself, and it was kind of hard to leave. But at the end, which was last October, so that'd be October of 2017 is when I quit my job, and I hated to leave, but it was time. I know that you had come down and visited a couple months prior to that, and you could see it on my face. Y'all were here during the day, and I came home for lunch, and I know you were just like, man, you gotta change something.
I saw someone burst through the door, like in just a frantic, just with a cloud of stress. Like it was like, it was a completely different person. It was like I can still picture it in my head, like just like I can feel it. I can feel like the just the stress. Like I can just see it, and just the 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 unhappiness with certain things that were going on with that, and how much that held you back. I think because it was like, I've got to come home, I got to do all these, I got to get all this stuff to the post office, peanut butter on toast, eat it, and then leave. And it's just like, is that really, is that really a life that you want to live every single day?
Yeah, it was getting to me, and I I'm not sure I would analyze myself as somebody that gets stressed out a lot. Maybe I did, maybe I do. I don't feel like I do anymore, but man, I was just to the point to, there were a couple things I was trying to balance. I was trying to balance, like you said, the business, and I was also trying to balance a full time job that I was fully invested in, for 11 years, and it just got to the point to where it was too much. I was too unhappy, and I was at the point to where I knew I needed to quit, but I was too scared to quit. It wasn't because I wasn't ready. It was just because I was scared to jump off that cliff. Steve Harvey has a video he recorded. I believe it was during the recording of Family Feud. Maybe like before the actual show started or after the show started.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but if our viewers out there don't know what I'm talking about, you should really look it up. He talks about jumping off a cliff, and he said, your parachute doesn't open right away. Usually you have to hit some rocks. You have to tumble down a little bit before your parachute opens, and that's what I was scared of. I was just scared of hitting some rocks. It by far the scariest. I don't know. Proposing to my wife was pretty scary, but quitting my full time job was one of the scariest things I have ever done. We were going from we were losing 60% of our income almost, and that's we had just bought a house 2 years before, and it was scary. It was scary.
Yeah, and
Best decision I've ever made, though.
oh, for sure. And I remember when you were going through the we started getting towards the end, like there was another job that you kind of had the opportunity to take, but then you kind of thought about it, and then you ended up kind of missing it. And if you would have taken that job,
This wouldn't have happened.
right,
We
right,
wouldn't be. We wouldn't even be talking on this podcast.
no, you would have done something completely different. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, that's tough. And I remember it was like you were gonna wait until the end of the year, and it was gonna be, I get my, Christmas bonus and all that stuff, and then quit. And all of a
Yep.
sudden, it was like I just put my 2 weeks in.
Yep.
We were like, holy shit.
Well, and that was a little bit impromptu. I really was waiting, till the end of the year. But man, I was just at a breaking point, and I mean, unless you've been to a breaking point, you can't explain that to somebody. When you're at your breaking point, relationships start to break down, your health starts to break down, just everything around you seems to start falling. And then, hopefully you can realize what's going on and make that change. But sometimes you need to hit rock bottom. You need to freak out, to have kind of a breakdown to be a catalyst
And
for things like this.
that's also when you usually get your most productive work done, is when it's like you used to have like a bad month, and it's just kind of like a reality check, and kind of um you know a kick in the backside, like, because it really is survival. But I have a full-time job that it fits me perfectly,
It does.
and it's, I have no problems with it. But my wife, she was kind of, she didn't really like doing the whole corporate deal. Like she's more into like interior design
Yeah.
and things like that. And so, you know,
And she worked for a big corporation, like a
oh,
multinational corporation.
oh yeah, yeah, it was
So
very, yeah, and it's um so yeah, so she, she had a stable job, and but it got to the point where it's like I don't want to quit my job because I don't mind my job. I like my job,
Yeah.
and it's, but I know that she doesn't, so she can kind of help me, do kind of some of the stuff that I can't do um, while I'm at work.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it was, even then it's hard because it's like, okay, yeah, I do make more money than she does, but still, you're losing a huge chunk of your
Oh yeah.
guaranteed money. Like that's like, it's okay, every 2 weeks it's in the bank,
That's a good way
but
to put it. You're guaranteed,
yeah,
money that you
like,
that you count on.
and here it's not, with this business it's not guaranteed, and it can be scary. Like, I mean, today, I mean, today I've had, for the past, 8, 10 days, I've had solid days.
Yeah.
And then today I sold 3 items,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, it's just like, man, is what has happened. And it reminds me of this picture I see all the time on Facebook. It's a meme or whatever, and it's like the mind of an entrepreneur, and it's like, oh my god, things are going great, I'm gonna make it. Oh my god, if
The
this is
day the day of an entrepreneur or a day
the
in the
day, yeah,
life. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, what if this is the end? Oh no, we're good now. No, oh crap, it's
Yeah.
crashing down. It's all crashing down around me. And then, so yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's definitely nerve wracking.
I'll tell you that does not stop. It's one of those things though, I've been a worrier most of my life. And that is one thing that I kind of just had to put blinders on and ignore is that, the world's crashing down around you. What will be, you know, whether I worry about it or not, what's going to happen is going to happen. You can be proactive and try your hardest, but sometimes algorithms don't work. Sometimes you just don't get sales. Sometimes big bad things happen. But if you sit there and worry and worry and worry, you're not going to do anything except hurt your health, at the end of the day. So I have learned to put blinders on and just do my work and do it every day, do it consistently. And, yeah, we aren't to the point to where we can, bring her home yet, but, and that will be another scary jump off the cliff moment, just as it will be for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, imagine. I don't know. That's like, I get excited even thinking about it. That's such a cool, like, just concept, is having, not having these, you know just guidelines that you have to follow. Like, yeah, I have to work these 50 hours in this place.
Societal constraints, like,
Yeah, and I even told Jessica, when I told her, I said, look, you need to quit. Like, I need to teach you this, and I need you for Q4.
yeah, I think we kind of skipped over that. When did she quit and how long ago was that?
It's been about 2 months now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been about 2 months, and we live in Houston, so I mean, it's when we go shopping, we go all over the place.
Whew.
We have like 5,000 Walmarts. So when we go to one, we're going to like 20, So one of the things that just killed me was, last year, Q4, um, we had no way to get to stores. We couldn't.
Yeah.
I was able to get to stores on Wednesdays, when they open, but I had no way of actually being able to get to these store openings to get my inventory. So I knew 2 months ago, I was like, man, you're gonna have to quit, because if we really want to make the money, you have to have at least one person at home. It's so hard. There's
Yeah.
a lot of constraints. Now you can do it. Um, and so, say for instance, you're a single person, and you're not, like, we're both married. But say that you're a single person, and it's just you're 100% solo. It's gonna take a lot of sleepless nights. I
Yeah.
mean, it really is. And that's one of the hardest parts about it is, you have to be able to work till midnight, 2 a.m. To
I
do
mean,
the
if we're
things you
being
need to do.
truthful, if you have a spouse or not, you're still going to be working long, long hours, long nights. I still work, sometimes till 1, 2 in the morning. It's a lot more rare now that
Mm,
I do this full time because I can do it during the day, obviously. But yeah, there's still long nights, and I
yeah,
think there always will be.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like last night I was up till midnight, and for me, sleep is. I've got a little one, so sleep is huge. Like I can't you know stay up till 2 a.m. and then count on the fact that I can sleep till 8 or 9,
Right.
in the morning. Like it's boom. I'm up at 5:30.
Yeah.
So, so that part's tough, and so having somebody at home, and being able, if I find something, to just immediately send that person to go get it.
Yeah.
It's been a huge boost to our business for sure.
Have you found it that it puts any strain on your marriage yet or anything? Because being a spouse and being an employee are, two totally separate things that usually are never commingled.
Yeah,
They're never intermingled.
yeah, that's not easy. Um, I have a very bullheaded wife. Like she's one of those that she's extremely determined.
It's kind of the pot
Um,
calling the kettle black,
Oh,
but
well, yes, but in everybody's kind of in their, they have their different ways of going about things. Um, but working with her, and because I mean, she's very intelligent, so she has opinions on what we should do. I have opinions on what we should do, and sometimes those opinions don't quite, you know,
yeah,
uh, don't sync up. So at the beginning, I was wanting her to, open up accounts and open up wholesale accounts and things like that, and it really wasn't her thing. Um,
yeah,
she's amazing at finding stuff,
yeah,
like shopping, turning shopping into a profession for her has done wonders, because that's what she likes to do. She likes to shop.
yeah,
And I don't want to be sexist, but what woman doesn't? There's very few that don't.
yeah.
So if you can say, hey, your job is to just shop and buy things, you know,
I
that's
think basically what you just pointed out was that you had to find her strength as an
well,
employee, and it
yeah,
really had nothing to do with the fact that she wasn't good at opening up wholesale accounts and stuff. That just wasn't in her wheelhouse. It wasn't something she has ever done or had to do. But you honed in on that strength, and that's something that a lot of people don't do when they manage people. They don't hone in on the strengths, and that man, you will sink a ship fast
yeah,
if
because
you try to put tasks on people that they're not, you know, trained or good at, I guess.
yeah, I think the other one was, while she was, filling out these wholesale accounts, I was, I'd come home and I was like, so how many accounts did you get? And she'd be like, 3, and I'm like, okay, so that's not enough. Like I had an expectation of like 20, because I gave her an entire list, and all she had to do was just go through the things. But her roadblock was like, when companies would ask for like a New York State, a form that you have to fill out, or like a Missouri State form that you had to fill out. Like she didn't understand, that being a Texas resident, you just give your sales and use tax form, and you don't really have to worry about the New York or
Yeah,
any of these other states. So that was a frustrating part, but we switched it up to where say, okay, well, you're going to be my go getter, and if you could see all of this, like I have a pile of toys,
yeah,
um, a literal pile. So that has worked out well. And the great thing, and one of the things, people were super scared about, quitting your job and kind of taking that leap, which it's very scary. But with her, if it didn't work out, she'd go right back to work.
yeah,
That's the one thing I think some people forget, that you can just go back,
yeah.
like if you have to, like if
Maybe
you
not to the
if
same job, but
yeah, probably not the same job, but you know, there's work out there. Like it's not like you choose this life and you can never go back. Like the Matrix,
yeah,
red pill, blue pill. Which one you take, you can't ever go back. It's not like that. So let's say for instance, after Q4, or a year from now, whatever, if it's not working out, just go back to work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Um, because unless you've set yourself up to where your monthly bills and stuff, you're just living on the edge, you know, then yeah, you can, and that's something we should talk about in some later podcasts too. Is just kind of budgeting to quit. Getting yourself a little nest egg, getting yourself a couple months, 6-8 months worth of pay built up to where you can just focus on hitting the pavement, and not necessarily bringing home that pay every month that you were bringing home. I think a lot of people nowadays, they don't really maybe understand the financial aspect of running your own business and just the financial, personal finance. A lot of people don't really understand that. Now, I really wish it was taught in school, but it's not. They don't teach you, the things you need to be taught. But I always use the rule of, 2 and 3s. Whatever something is going to cost me, I times it by 2 or 3. I always put a margin in there of safety. Just always. So, before I quit, excuse me, I estimated all my bills, my monthly bills, and I times them by 2 and 3 just to see if we could pay that, if we had to shut some stuff off, whatever we had to do, if we could pay that just on her salary alone, we would be okay. And we could. So, I mean, that's how we did it, and that's how I would probably suggest that most people go about it. Just plan. Don't do it blindly. Just please don't go into your job and say, you know what? Screw you. I'm out of here.
I'm going to Goodwill.
Don't do that. Oh, you have no idea how tempted I was to do that. I even had the whole spiel, planned out. And I had told you before, I'm going to tell him this, this, and this, and, screw you, screw you, screw you, you're cool, screw you, But, it's not realistic. It's, at the end of the day, you have bills to pay, and you have responsibilities to people, so you might as well do it right.
Yeah, and I think that you also owe it to your partner to make sure that you're working towards something. For instance, with Jessica, like now, Jessica's goal is to get me home, right?
Yeah.
So, I have to make sure that that the business is heading in the right direction. We want to we'd like to be able to get our own warehouse in a couple years. Hopefully sooner, but
Yeah.
we're 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 growing slowly, right? So, we'd like a warehouse with an office, soon. But I owe it to her to make sure that that I'm doing right by the business, and we're headed in that direction. Just kind of like you have a obligation to your significant other to say, hey, you believed in me, to take that plunge, and so now I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna make it worth it.
Yeah, and I think we should talk about that too. Um, man, our wives are probably some of the most supportive women, wives that I've seen, because I know my wife for sure. She believed in me before I believed in me,
Yeah.
and that kind of scared me because I was like, I don't know that you're. I I think you're messing up. I think you're trying. You believe in a little too much in me, but it's we couldn't do it without them. You're right. You were talking about that the other day. We can't do it without them. We could, but it would be 10 times harder.
Yeah, it'd be kind of miserable too. I mean, if I would, maybe not miserable, but maybe lonely. It'd be very lonely.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have someone to share it with,
Yeah.
especially the fun times. The fun times get really fun.
Yeah.
Bad times are bad, but when Q4 is coming up, I'm so excited.
Excited or scared?
No, I'm so excited because I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did. When I started, I worked for a company that went under. it was a very interesting situation. They were going bankrupt, and the chain was about 160 stores or so, and a company bought it, and they said, okay, well, we're gonna reopen these 75 stores, and my store was actually one that was going to be reopened. And so, we're liquidating through that entire process, and um, you know, keeping the whole team together. Letting them know, hey, we're good. Don't go anywhere else. We're gonna reopen, and everything's gonna be great. And during this whole process, and I think pretty much halfway through it, like you kind of told me about what really you were getting into, because this was before you quit. This was in August, July, about a year ago. About a year
Yeah.
ago. You had just kind of got started, really getting serious. Like, I know you started kind of early 2017, I think, right? Early,
I started researching the business and learning
yeah,
about
like
Amazon and stuff. But
little,
yeah, I didn't actually. I don't think I opened an Amazon account till end of May, early June, and I didn't sell my first thing till like July. So
yeah. So it was about right there. So I remember, I remember laying in bed and watching a YouTube video, like, what is FBA? I didn't know what FBA was.
yeah,
So I started going through it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so it gets, near the end, and we got about a week left before they can shut the whole store down. And I find out that they're not going to reopen the store. And then I just won't have a job. Um, and so, you you go from your situation to where it's like, man, just not happy with the direction that the company I'm working for is going. Folks don't have the right and the best intentions, or like,
no,
whatever.
no, that was
um,
pretty accurate.
yeah. And where I was, I absolutely loved my job. I worked there
Oh,
for
you did.
6 years.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen somebody that enjoyed their job and their
Yeah,
employees enjoyed you. That's
yeah,
rare.
yeah. And I mean, I absolutely loved it. And so, and so it was complete opposite. I was forced, into unemployment,
Yeah.
and you dove into unemployment. So,
Yeah.
so, and I had a backup plan, just in case. But it really, I was like, okay, well, shoot, now what I do. And you were down at our house when Hurricane Harvey was hitting, and
The day.
yeah, the day Hurricane Harvey hit, like you
God, I
didn't.
still have a screenshot of where the hurricane, the tail of
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
over your house.
yeah, yeah. And so we were, and I remember we had the garage door open. It was raining, and we were like
Oh,
throwing shit into your van, trying to get you out of here so you can leave. So anyway, so you leave. But I remember during that trip, I was like, what can I sell? What can I sell? And I'm like sitting at my kitchen island, and I'm starting taking pictures, and that was just like the beginning
yeah.
of the of that journey. And I got on with this other company that I really enjoy as well. But um, you talk about different ways of getting started in things, and really it became a kind of an obsession for me, a reawoken obsession, because I had done some things in the past, just not very, I didn't do it very well. So so
I'm
yeah.
not saying you didn't do it very well. I think you maybe didn't find the passion, or maybe you
Hey,
just didn't do it as well as you feel that you should have.
yeah, I don't think I took it as serious. I had an LED
Yeah.
business. I worked at Radio Shack, and I started playing with LEDs, and that was back when Fast and the Furious was big. And I decided to make these LED kits, and I did that for quite a few months, and made some good money. But it got to the point where I wasn't shipping things on time, and started getting negative reviews, and just didn't work out. But when going seeing what you were getting started in, it was like it kind of you know um, re-energized that kind of obsession that I had.
And at the time, I didn't even know that you were into that kind of stuff, or really had, you know, been as serious as you had been. with the LEDs, and then before that, with baseball cards back in what, like 8th grade, I think you
Yep.
said you started, which is crazy, but and your success just started rolling, and it kind of, I'll be honest with you, it kind of made me feel bad a little bit because I was like, man, I like, what am I doing? Why am I slacking so much? This guy's just going after it. And there was like nothing holding you back, And I don't think that passion has left you yet,
No,
you
no,
know.
it really hadn't. It really hasn't. But it was just the fun of Q4. Really, it was just kind of the perfect timing. Amazon's got so much of a learning curve.
Oh,
Um,
oh yeah.
it took a lot longer. Like really, Q4, I was like, no, I'm not doing Amazon. I just couldn't. Well, one, I didn't sell anything enough to be able to sell toys, but it was too much for me to handle and do eBay. Like I was doing like, I think my biggest month on eBay, I think December I did $18,000 on eBay. Yeah, and
Boy.
I think I did 12. Oh, so between August and December, I did $44,000 in on eBay because that's what my W was it called W not what was that
Uh,
uh,
doesn't matter. We know what you're
10
talking about.
whatever 1099 from PayPal. That's what I had on it.
Yeah.
When I looked at it, I was like, "Fuck, that's a lot." Um, but yeah, it got crazy. So I was hooked for sure. And but this year's, again, like I said, I had all that stuff going on last year, and I was only able to just hit these Toys R Us's on one day. Luckily, it was their truck day. But now I'm going to have someone that's going to be there every single day, every single morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. That'll be good. And it's a good point you brought up. Amazon is not an easy business to learn.
No.
It's not as hard as a lot of people make it, but it's not easy. It's not like eBay where you can just go in and you've got your sold listings to go off of, and you can just look something up and go. Amazon, there's a lot more to it. And when you said I kind of started early 2017, I did. I started researching, early 2017. So, man, I researched for probably a good 5 to 6 months before I ever even opened my Amazon account. It's crazy. But let's get into some real meat and potatoes here, or
We just did
sports.
30 minutes.
Right, yeah, rotten. Yeah, we're gonna cut all of that. This is actually gonna be the beginning of the video. No, but oh, man. Okay, so I guess it was either July or August of last year, and it was right there, right before or right after Harvey, that I had come down, and I saw somewhere somebody talking about making a template for like Facebook Marketplace to buy books. So I made a little PDF or a little template and graphic that said, we buy used books, textbooks, nonfiction, whatever. So I get several people that have a handful of books, 4 to 5 books, and they're, a lot of them weren't good, but we were getting people that were interested in it. We just said, we'll pay cash, we'll pay up to, I think it was up to $1 or something per book. And I had this one lady message me, and she said, I've got a barn full of books. And I said, okay, I don't know what that means. And she said, I'm going to send you some pictures. Are you ready? And I thought that was a weird question. I was like, are you ready? Like, okay, so send me some pictures. So she proceeds to send me, I don't know, 7 to 10 pictures, and stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of books. Just those. What milk comes in at the store? It comes in those boxes. It holds about 6-gallon jugs, I think. There were just boxes upon boxes upon boxes, and those boxes will hold about, I want to say, about 50 books, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. So, and there were more boxes than I could count. So we set up a time to go over and meet her. It was about 25 minutes away from my house. And she said, bring help. I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, she didn't send me a picture of all of the books. She sent me a picture, pictures of maybe 1/3 of the books. We get over there. This is a 10,000 square foot barn. Let me repeat that. 10,000 square feet of barn. I would say about 2 to 3,000 square feet of that barn was filled with books. So the first day we went over there, and I said, I don't know that I can buy them all. We hadn't really, I don't think we'd even really set a price yet. I think she was wanting like 75 cents a book, and I'm like, no, no. So I went over there and we scanned. I went over there and I think I was using FBA scan at the time, and we scanned and scanned and scanned. And we found a stack of books. I think I ended up buying maybe 20, 25 books that day. I should have stopped there. I didn't.
So real quick, on the how many books do you think you scanned that day, and what do you think the profit was on just those first few books?
Uh, that's a good question. It's been so long ago, I can't remember how many books I had scanned. Uh, a couple hundred at least. At least a couple hundred. Like I said, I was brand new into this stuff. I'd never done it before, and I didn't even really know what I was looking for. I was just going basically off the app. So the books that I did get that day were profitable. They would be, a normal day at a Goodwill now for me, that I know what I'm doing and what I can find. Some books $5 profit, some books 10, 12, 20, $30 profit. Like I said, I should have stopped there, but I didn't. She got back in touch with us and said, we're willing to do. She said, what are you willing to do? And it went back and forth, just like you said with Facebook Marketplace, the people that you deal with. It just back and forth, back and forth. And I finally told her, I said, look, I can pay about 5 cents a book. If I'm going to get them all, I say I can pay about 5 cents a book. Well, some of these books are from the 1920s, I'm like, and that's, I had learned enough at that point to know and realize, if you get a book from the 1920s, that doesn't matter. If you get a book from the 1800s, that doesn't matter. It matters if that's a hot book or if that's a book that you can sell. And people, that's another thing that I realized. People don't realize that. They don't understand that part of it. So I kind of got a little off track there. You may have to.
So you could offer 5 cents a book.
Yeah. So I think she was trying to get like 10 cents a book, and I told her 3 cents a book, and I think we ended up coming to an agreement on about 5 cents a book. And I think that was I want to say it was about $350. So they, we kind of added up, estimated how many books it was, and it was about 6,000 books. Well, this is, I have a Dodge Ram extended cab, so it's got an 8-foot bed on it, and I have a 6x8, 5x8, I think it's a 5x8 trailer. I filled that truck bed and that truck bed up, probably maybe a foot higher than the bed itself, and the trailer maybe a foot higher than the trailer bed, probably 3 to 4 times, about 3 to 4 trips. Yeah, filled up my garage. That was the last time I believe my garage was usable for a garage.
For a long time.
Again, goes back to the supportive wives, because she at the time had a brand new car and she was having to park outside. So anyway, what happened was we got to sorting through books, and we noticed that a lot of these books had mold. And if you've never dealt with mold, it's insidious. Like it gets it just multiplies and it gets everywhere. So if it comes in contact with another book that doesn't have mold, that book will eventually have mold. And something called Silverfish. I really wish I would have known what those were before I bought books from an unclimate controlled, unhumidity controlled barn. I didn't.
Yeah.
And we found quite a few. I had to scrap most of the books. Most all of the books I had to scrap.
And real quick, if because I did not know what a silverfish was, this is a silverfish, and this looks absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, yeah. They're little bitty bugs. They're just and they're just in and out of everything. They if I remember correctly, they feed on the adhesive of the books. So like
Yeah.
where the book binding and stuff is. So a lot of the times you would think like I would think I would have a good book and I would pull it out and I would open it up and I'd see one of them shoot out from the spine of the book. And I'm like, God, come on. And you can't in good conscience send that off to Amazon, especially since I was brand new and I hadn't sent that many shipments off, and I was like I said, I was a worrier and I was scared that Amazon was going to shut me down and stuff, which they may have had they gotten complaint after complaint that there were silverfish and mold in all these books I was selling.
Yeah,
You know,
it's funny. It's funny you obviously you've done your research on them going through the book glue, because I mean you look at some of these pictures, books, books.
yeah,
You can tell that's kind of what they're, and it's kind of in obviously it's going to be in the spine of the book,
yeah.
where all that glue is. So that's really something to for people to look out for.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
that you,
Don't buy books from an unclimate controlled place. Just
so
don't do it. It was a hard lesson learned.
so when why didn't you when you were going through the books initially, when you were originally scanning them, did you not notice the mold, or did you just not get a batch that had mold or
No, I didn't notice it really. In the books that I did notice, I think I don't know. I think I was just excited to get started too, and so I kind of overlooked or looked past some things that I probably shouldn't have. I kind of thought, oh well, there's gonna be good books in here. There's gonna be books that are clean and dry, and there's nothing wrong with them.
Hell, I
And,
was excited with you. I remember.
yeah,
I was like, dude, you're gonna make a killing on these books.
and okay, disclaimer: had they come from a place that was humidity and climate controlled, I would have made a killing,
Yeah.
like a killing. But what this company did was, this lady, they were actually setting up a flea market in this barn, and so they were trying to get rid of all these books, and I think that's what really got her to come down on the price and all. But the company that owned this barn was a company that went, I think they bought rental houses. So anything that was in a rental house, they would pull it out, and I guess renovate it and flip it or rent it out, whatever. So all these books came from houses that had been, I guess, vacated. So some of these books may have been in bad shape before, but I suspect it was just, we live in the South and humidity is a killer down here. You can't leave, if you leave a book outside for a couple days, it's going to be wavy, it's going to be warped and wavy just because of the humidity in the air. And these things had sat in that barn for years, some of them,
Yeah.
you know. So and yes, they got me with the salesman trick. They did put the best stuff up front, and so a lot of the books that we scanned in the beginning were good, decent shaped books. So anyway, it was a learning experience. I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I would, but I'm not gonna do it again.
Yeah, and I mean, you just recently got rid of that, didn't you? Didn't you?
I still have one trailer full at my house right now that I need to dump.
So I mean, it's just that one's that was a learning experience for both of us. I luckily I got the easy part right. I
Yeah,
just learned.
yeah.
Um, but shoot, I mean, it happens. It happens, and I would have never thought mold. I would have never thought. Definitely would have never thought silverfish.
Mm-mm.
That's still crazy to me.
Me either. Me either. I mean, I was to the point to where I was a little bit desperate. I was looking up, on forums and Google, what is this part of the book called, so I could write in the description, discoloration on, the whatever part of the book,
Lots of bugs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It comes free with bugs. But man,
It's good. It's good stuff, though. I mean,
yeah. You want to
I
talk
definitely
a
know.
little? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you want to talk a little bit about cash flow, for
Hmm. Yeah,
Q4,
I
period.
know we have um a group, and there's a couple people in the group that they're big on multiple credit cards um for the points, and I think one thing from someone like myself who had a lot of personal consumer debt in the past. um you really want to be careful with that. Like, I think this person who's in our group, he sells a lot more than we do,
Yeah,
so it's there's no issue really.
basically credit lines to him.
Yeah, yeah, the balances are easily repaid. But one of the things that when I first started, I just used PayPal as my bank. And um and 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 it wasn't until I kind of needed to branch out and scale even more, when I took my first I took a working capital loan. And if you don't know what a working capital loan is, it's essentially, the bank will say, hey, here's $3,000. We'll put $3,000 in cash, into your account, but we get anywhere from 10 to 30% of your sales, until you repay it. So, like, for instance, like PayPal, my first one I think was like $4,000. So I took $4,000, and I always 30% because that's the highest repayment that you can go, and it also includes the smallest fee. So, like, on a loan of $4,000, I think I want to say the fees right around $150 or so.
Well, that's not bad.
Um, so it's very low fees if you can pay it back.
What's
So
the
here's
repayment terms?
you have essentially 90 days to pay it back.
Okay.
So if you're able to pay that loan back by sacrificing 30% of your sales, if you can pay it off within 90 days, you're good. Now, once you go past 90 days, it could get a little bit, you know, iffy. If you're close, it's not a big deal. But if you're not making those, if you're not paying it back fast enough, your interest can go up. And I think the cap's 29%, so it could really get you in some trouble, if you do it, um, and you're not and you don't spend it in the right way. So
Yeah.
one of the things that asks you, what are you taking the loan out for? And mine's always buying inventory. And so, let's say, for instance, I took a $4,000 loan, and I decided I want to get hardwood floors in my office with it, right? So you get hardwood floors, and that's great. But now, you sacrifice 30% of your sales, and you didn't get any more inventory in order to, support that. So,
Yeah.
um, the working capital loans for me, I like them. They allow me to scale, quickly when I need to, and the repayments very easy. It's very low risk. So that's one option,
But it
for kind of.
balloons after the after
Yeah,
the
yeah,
term.
yeah,
So
and QuickBooks has one too. Um, they'll give you $10,000 with a fee of $400, which is very good, which is really good. So, let's say, for instance, you wanted to do a 10,000, and you have to qualify for it.
is that 4%? What is that?
Yeah, yeah, it's about 4%. So you can do a 400 and something dollar fee for $10,000. um, and they just debit, 500 bucks a week out of your account. So um, working capital loans I think are the best. Um, but the downside to them is there's no rewards involved. Um, and so I know you got the Chase Ink card first.
Hmm.
Now, what made you choose that card over another?
The bonus points. Because it was the most relevant to me. I don't care that much about airline miles and stuff like that because that's a lot of what you get with a lot of these business cards is airline miles and hotel stays and stuff like that. And that will, don't get me wrong, that will be important later on for me. But right now, we're trying to build this business up and just trying to make sure that we're doing everything we can and putting all this money back into the business. So what the ink card allowed me to do, and by the way, if any of our viewers want a referral link, I will definitely send them that. If we get two of them, I'll send one to you, and one can go to me. But anyway, that's another thing. You get 80,000 referral points, and so does. No, you get 20,000, and the person that signs up gets 80,000. But anyway, you can redeem these points for Amazon gift cards, for cash, for whatever. And I've used them to buy equipment for the business. I've used them, for several different things, and that's really why I went with that card. And like you said, the guy in our group that's always talking about the credit cards and using that credit line is the one that actually got me to get that card. And I've always lived by the mantra of if I don't have cash to pay for it, I don't need it. So getting a credit card personally was hard for me a couple years ago, but I just kind of I know it's crazy, right? It's something so simple as a credit card. I always used my debit card or cash. So what we would do was, I would just use basically a credit card as a 30-day loan. So every 30 days I would pay the credit card off. And I still do that with the business too, because there's no point in accruing interest if if you're bringing in the money to pay it off. So I kind of lost where where I was going with that. But so my first business credit card, I was a little bit worried because I didn't know that I was gonna have that money coming in to pay it off every month. Because that wasn't coming out of my paycheck from work. That was actually salaried and there every 2 weeks and everything. This was coming out of money that I didn't know if I was going to make or not. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And just an FYI, if you are interested in the Chase Ink card, the new card member offer, which was so nice, was
this
the
sounds really salesy, by the way.
Oh, and it's not. And to be honest, I think you can get like a max of like 4 referrals. But this card is really nice.
Yeah.
And I wish we were, but we're not getting paid by Chase to do this.
No.
The thing is, you get 80,000 bonus points after you spend 5,000 on purchases in the first month. And so,
Is it
that's
first month or 3 months? I think it's 3 months.
yeah,
Yeah.
on the first 3 months, you're right. So you get, that's $800 essentially, that they give
Yeah.
you that you can instantly cash in for gift cards, which I think both of us did, and bought our tape machines, which you can. Well, I bought my tape machine over here.
Yeah.
Um, uh, for with that money. So it is nice. And with my Chase card, I'm probably a lot more um well, I know I'm a lot more like uh less cautious than you when it comes to utilizing them. So
Yeah.
we're very different when it comes to that.
I'm getting
But
better. I'm getting better.
you are the shoot 5 years ago, if you mentioned credit card, I'd get a
Woo.
lecture. I'd get a lecture. But it is a nice card, and there's other cards. I think our friend mentioned, there was, I think it was a Hyatt. There's a Hyatt,
Yeah.
like a Hyatt card there. You can get like a bunch of hotel stays, but to your point, you, you're not going to plan on traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be globetrotting your first like 2 or 3 years.
4,
So
5, 6 years.
yeah, it's gonna be a while. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a while. So, the airline miles are cool, and to be honest, the with this Chase Ink card, the points are worth more if you book travel through Chase. So, which is something that I found out, because we do like to do like we did eBay Open this year in Hawaii and whatever, but your points are worth even more towards travel. So whereas 80,000 points would be $800, cash, it'd be worth
Like
close to,
1,500 or something
yeah,
in
anywhere from
travel.
12 to 1,500,
Yeah.
towards travel. So
But what
um,
our viewers need to remember is, if you're not ready to use credit, if you're not ready to use someone else's money, don't do it. Do not do it. Build up your bankroll.
yeah,
Just
yeah, don't start with it.
don't don't feel like you have to compete with other people. That's one downfall a lot of people have. You can't compete with anybody except yourself. So if you start this business with $20, and you're going into thrift stores and you're buying, $800 worth of stuff on a credit card, that's not gonna work out real well for you, because it's gonna get into, you're gonna get into the debt before you get into paying stuff off.
Yeah, and you can't afford, the one thing that's extremely important is you cannot afford the interest on these cards.
Mm-mm.
Business cards are not meant to carry balances, and that's why there's such a heavy penalty. You have 22% APR on these cards if you're if you carry a balance, which, and that's, if you've got, my limit is 14,000 on my card. Like if I had that card maxed out and I carried that balance,
Yeah, I've got a
oh
$2,500
god,
limit.
like it would be
No, I'm just kidding.
terrible. It would be terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't start with debt. And I think that's one of Gary V's. I think it was Gary V. One of those things that he was talking about was just don't start with debt.
Pride is
Just
what gets a lot of people there.
yeah, yeah. It's like, hey, I want to be a big spender. I want to make big moves, and I mean, I'm guilty of that too sometimes. But
But you got to do it in the order that it's supposed to be done in. You got to learn the business before you can be a big spender. Otherwise, you're just spending. You anybody can go out and get a credit card and spend $10,000 on inventory, but not everybody can, spend that $10,000 on inventory that's going to turn, and turn quickly, turn before you owe that 10,000 back.
yeah, what if you make a mistake with that? So you get a $5,000 limit, and you go all in on one product, and it doesn't work out. You get a hazmat. You get what did you get? You got a trademark infringement. That's like, it's not
Oh
good.
man.
It's not good. So don't start with debt. But that is one of the ways you can work on your cash flow, and to open that up. But you got to get to that level first, and you really I see a lot of on social media, kind of the downfalls of people that grow too fast,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then it leads to making shortcuts, and it really just kind of tears you up. So
You're kind of alluding to not scaling correctly as well, right?
yeah,
I guess some people get too successful too fast.
yeah, that's true.
Too, they're not they're not ready for 100 orders a day coming in. Sometimes you stumble into it. Hasn't happened to me. I wish it had, but it hadn't happened to me yet. But sometimes they say the faucet just gets turned on, and you're not ready for it, and that can be just as detrimental and damaging to a business as not having sales. Because if you can't keep up with demand, your sales your reviews are gonna go down. Your feedback's gonna be horrible, and next thing you know, you're gonna be out of business.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it just could put you in a hole, So, just the working capital loans are based off your volume, so they're one of the safer ones because they kind of they monitor, especially PayPal. I mean, PayPal knows how much money's coming in and out, so they'll tailor your loan to your volume, so it's very low risk.
Yeah.
It
Don't
really
do it until you need to do it. Until
right,
until cash flow is the chink in your system. Is the thing that's holding you up. It would be my advice to beginners. Don't just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the slow growth. It's growth.
yeah, for sure. Um, so that's kind of cash flow in a nutshell. And there's other there are other ways to do it too. You can get loans just straight from your bank, but a lot of times you got to present business plans and
Yeah.
things like that. And that's kind of like an old school way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
The new thing, and there's a at eBay Open, there was no shortage of companies that offered working capital loans. But most of the ones that I saw, I think one was Loan Builder, and the interest rates were high. So
Mhm.
just make sure you're paying less than 5% of your total your total balance.
Yeah.
It's just you know so
Well, let's move it on to to a funny story you've got about drop shippers.
so one of the things that you're gonna, if you sell, especially if you sell electronics, and I think this has only happened with electronics, is if you if you ever have a customer that sends you a message along with their purchase asking you not to include an invoice, and not to
This is eBay, by the way.
yeah,
Well,
this,
yeah, this is only eBay.
or don't put eBay tape on there. That means, I'd say 99% of the time, that means they have this thing listed on Amazon and they are drop shipping it from you to their merchant fulfilled customer.
Or they have it listed on eBay.
Or they have it, they have it listed on eBay as well. But the common one is to, because a lot of these electronics will go even higher, for more money on Amazon than they will on eBay.
Yeah.
So they'll they'll attach these messages that, and they always, without failure, they always say, this is going to my friend.
Go
Um,
ahead and read the one that you got the other day.
yeah.
I know you called me
So
when you got it. Oh, it was hilarious.
So this is the one, is a Sony VCR with remote, and so the message says, "Hello, thank you for selling me your item. This is going to be a good friend of mine or this is going to a good friend of mine as a gift. So could you please leave out any packing slips, papers, or forms when you send the item? I want it to be a surprise." Smiley face. Thanks again. And then it says, P.S. I already updated the address to my friend's address, so just go ahead and ship it to the address provided. And then, smiley face. P.S.S. Don't worry about eBay tape or an eBay label. That's 100% okay.
I bet it is.
And
God.
so of course I send a screenshot to you, and I just it's just like, I'm gonna load this thing up with eBay tape.
Oh, it was awesome.
Because the greatest thing, and I like being a troll, but the greatest thing about it is that it's against eBay's terms of service to drop ship, um, using another platform. And so let's say, for instance, this buyer gets upset that I ruin you know his manipulation of my inventory. um, he has no recourse, because it's clearly a drop ship, and you can't buy and ship it to someone other than yourself. And the reason why I know this is because I've actually had this happen. I had a customer that bought two of them, same exact scenario. He buys two of these $250 stereos, and they get shipped to, like, I guess, a freight forwarding company, and it goes straight overseas to, I think it was Saudi Arabia, somewhere in the Middle East. And that cost him like $400. So I don't know what he was paid to do this or what he was charging. But he then wanted to, the customer got them, and they were sold as is, and in the listing it said as is, but they got over there, and he um, said that the customer, wanted the working units, and I said, well, you're gonna have to ship it back to me. At this point, I knew he wouldn't, because it was going to cost him $400 just to ship it.
Yeah.
So, long story short, I called eBay and just told him, it's like, no, that's totally against uh, our our terms of service. And I was like, okay, so, but just be wary, when people, if I ever see that on there, I don't think of it as a bad thing. I think of it as a guaranteed sale, and it's not coming back, because it,
Yeah.
it, it can't come back. Some
Yeah.
people, on the boards, they get upset about it, and all this other stuff. I was like, there's just no reason to. Like, it's not, hey, they're running their game, but they have to deal with the consequences with
Yeah.
Amazon. If this thing goes, and it's not quite what the customer ordered, or if they get this thing on their doorstep and it's littered with eBay, you know, labels all over the place.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to wonder.
I mean, the thing about drop shipping too, and if any of our viewers are drop shippers, we don't hate you. It's just that when you drop ship, you have, you know, nothing to lose. You didn't have to buy any inventory. You didn't have to store any inventory. You didn't have to ship any inventory. It's just, it's kind of a piggyback deal.
Mm-hmm.
You just it. I see the allure of the drop shipping model, you know, but
It's just
I'm
risky.
still not really on board with it being, okay with my inventory, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but to me, it's gone, and it's not coming back, and I get
Yeah.
the money. They're not
No,
getting the money.
I don't. Don't get me wrong. I'll sell to a drop shipper. I don't care if I'm selling it at my price and they didn't, negotiate me down with some tactic of, man, my mother's sick and we can't pay her medical bills and I need this PlayStation. We gotta have this. uh, it's like that's, I'm okay if I got what I was wanting for it and I made profit off it. I'm okay. You know.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So it's there's always those interesting
But
interesting things.
you covered that thing in eBay tape, and it was awesome. I think I even told you to put an invoice in there or a card that said, please visit my store. I don't know if you did that or
No,
not,
I
but
didn't. I didn't.
that would
I
have
don't
been
really. I don't
funny.
really include. I usually don't include anything in those. One thing about eBay is it's extremely rare that you're going to get a loyal customer that's going to come to your store and shop your stuff, because
Yeah,
you have such a weird. Usually you have a very weird.
it's not
Um,
usually replan type stuff.
yeah, unless you're like a. What if you could be like a specialty knife person and just nothing but knives, and that's different. Like customers that,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go check out that knife guy on eBay again. So I don't put any stock in leaving business cards or things like that in there.
yeah. I do on my higher priced items, and I probably should do it on them all, but I just don't really feel like wasting the paper on a $10 item. But usually I'll put a packing slip in there, and it'll say hey, we're a small business. If you wouldn't mind, if you're happy with your service, please leave us a uh, like feedback, feedback according to the service you received or whatever. I don't ask for positive feedback, but I just ask for what you feel is right. And if you have a problem, to please contact me first. Just give us the benefit of the doubt to make it right before anything else happens. And I don't know if that accounts for the the feedback that I get or not. I don't know if people are reading that, but I think it's more to do with the follow up emails that eBay sends you to leave feedback than anything.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. So
But
so yeah,
why don't we talk about how to talk to retail customers? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
retail employees.
Excuse me, excuse me. Yeah, I mean we should do a segment on talking to retail customers too. But
No, yeah, this one's pretty easy. One of the, you know, my wife is a Ray Dunn hunter, and she only does it for personal gain. She doesn't really do it to resell. And that's a whole nother world. Like, you want to talk about like just their own little clan. Go to go to any TJ Maxx at 9:30,
you
and
gave it away. You gave away our secret, man.
you don't ever go anyways.
Yeah.
You go to any TJ Maxx at 9:30, and
I
it's
went
mad.
this morning, by the way.
Did you?
That's
Did you?
funny that you say that.
Were there other people there?
Yeah, but there was no real Ray
Yeah,
Dunn stuff.
yeah.
They were still putting stuff out. I didn't stay long enough.
So my wife, she made friends with a lot of the employees, and so, you know, there's one thing that retail employees, that's true with 99% about with all retail employees, is they don't care about you making money.
Yeah.
They don't. There is nothing in it for them.
Yeah.
And there are some that will actually resent the fact that you're trying to make money, right? And you can have your own opinion on that. It is what it is, but that's just a fact. So if you can, there's a Instagram personality that I follow, and he always has $5 Starbucks gift cards, and he will use those. If someone is helping him out, he'll throw him one of those $5 Starbucks gift
God,
cards,
that's a good idea.
and you can buy them like in like those like 5 packs or
Who doesn't
whatever.
like coffee?
Exactly. And even if you don't do the gift card route, you really have to make sure there's something in it for them, because
Yeah.
if you think that they're really gonna try to hunt for that item for you, they won't. They just won't.
Yeah.
So, um, building relationships with those employees is huge. Take your time and get to know one of them. Talk about their just them. Talk about what their interests are, and
Yeah, I was
I don't
about to
know.
say you don't really have to bribe them or even give them anything.
No,
Sometimes people just want to talk, want to have a
yeah,
conversation, and be treated like an equal. You know?
yeah. When we were doing the Toys R Us runs last year, we would we would make sure that we'd talk to the cashiers and say, hey, how's your day going? Just not in twofold. One, to distract them because we were trying to go over our limit on what we could buy, but two, if you can actually strike up a genuine conversation with somebody about anything, it just takes them out of that employee mode. And
Smile too.
yeah,
Smiling is super important.
yeah, yeah, and you just can't ever come off as someone in there just to try to make money and leave, because they're just gonna do the opposite, and they may know there's stuff somewhere, and they won't tell you, just despite
Yeah.
the fact that you're in there trying to make money. So, always, never kind of make sure you don't go in there thinking that they're going to have your best interest in mind, because they won't. The bribing, the $5, that's a good one. That's
Yeah.
a good one. Those gift cards, that's a really good idea. But just saying hey and talking to them before you start asking them,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help you out. It'll help you a lot. We were in a Walmart, um, and we were looking for toys, and there was this older lady there, and she was walking down the aisle, and we were like, hey, have you seen this item? Could you scan? Do you have a scanner that you could scan to see if you have this item in stock? Because Brickseek was saying that they had two, and we didn't see any. And she's like, well, I don't really work in this department, and the person that was here called out, and the other person that was supposed to help me out, she's across the other side of the store. And so we sympathize with her, and or empathize with her, and say, hey, man, gosh, they got you here all by yourself. You got to
Yeah.
run this entire department by yourself. And she's like, yeah, can you believe that? And it was really like, yeah, now you're talking about her interests, and she was a very sweet old lady. But
Yeah.
you know but what did she do? She said, "Hold on, let me go check the bag." you know, and sure enough, she comes out with both of them. Um, and so it's just it's a very it's probably one of the most important things, especially if you're wanting to put a leg up on your competition. And like Jessica, every single day, she goes and sees this one employee, and this one employee will tell her if there's more coming, if they're done for the day, and it saves them so much time.
Yeah.
Imagine if she never talked to that person. She could go in there, look for the items, not find it, and not know that they're about to have three more carts come out in the
Yeah.
back. And, so the difference between making a lot of money and making no money is just a simple conversation.
Yeah, and you hit on something there, the empathy. When you see an employee that's struggling, because we've all been there. Nobody's ever, well, not gonna say nobody, but most people have been in a job where they either didn't like it or they were overworked or both. And if you make light of that, kind of in a good way, or kind of try to put yourself on that same level with that employee, like, man, like you said, how are you running all this by yourself? Like, that is crazy. That's crazy. They got you in here doing that. It humanizes the whole thing, and it kind of puts you as an ally to that person, like, because really, in all reality, if you really are building genuine relationships with these people, which you should, you are going to do your best to kind of try to help them out. If you do see, if I'm walking through a store and I see a bunch of product that fell down, and I know who works in that department, I'm going to pick that stuff up and put it back on the shelf or whatever. I'm probably going to anyway, but still, I'm definitely going to do it for somebody, that has my best interest at heart.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and it's probably one of the most important things. You can't be that guy that just doesn't talk. You're gonna miss out on so much.
Yeah.
You really have to open up. And I hear about stories about people all over. They've got special relationships with the store managers. That they'll get store managers will even text them or call them when they got something going on. Clearance deals or whatever. So
Being on the other end of that, being actually on the employee side of it, what do you feel like when someone does approach you like that and stuff? I mean,
I
how
just
is it from your point of view?
I don't see it. I
Yeah.
rarely ever
Well,
see
not
it.
at your level
You know?
probably now, but
Yeah. You know, I just don't. I mean, I know. Um, you know, there were certain events that would happen that would cause certain products to be extremely valuable, and most people that would come in there to buy the popular products. It would it just if the person was an asshole, you wanted to make sure they only got their limit and that was it.
yeah.
Whereas if you had somebody that just had your that was just talking up a store, telling stories and all that stuff, maybe slip them two more, let them buy two more, so we'll see.
Well, the last thing I got on the list here. Well, I have a couple more things, but we're running quite long. We got restricted for unicorns, so that was fun. Bought a bunch of unicorns. I went on a trip. You went to several stores. So does your
Yeah,
wife. But now we can't sell them. At least not
not
on
on
Amazon.
Amazon. And I don't know really that I really intended to sell all of them on Amazon. I I knew the competition was going to be insane. Um, but I think that I'm looking at 38 of them. Like I've got I, I've got you know enough to where they're starting to sell on eBay. I sold one like 30 minutes ago.
Wow.
Um, they're starting to sell on eBay. So I was kind of nervous right after I bought them because I was like, shit, I keep seeing them now. I can see them in Target, and
Yeah.
I keep seeing them, and I'm like, that's not good. So I'm hoping that um,
Maybe try to unload them.
well, I'm hoping that the initial shipments have kind of gone out to stores, and hopefully it'll get a little bit more rare. But
Oh, okay.
I sent I sent 6 in to Amazon, and they're listed. They're available for sale right now. Um,
But
but
but you got restricted, right?
but if I try to add more, I'm restricted. So I, from what I understand, from what it seems like, those 6 are the only one I'm going to be able to sell.
I am very surprised because we talked about this before, but I had a brand of product that got gated after I was able to sell it, and I had probably 75 plus units of this item at Amazon, and they said they gave me like 6 days or something to sell through my inventory, which I didn't, not all of it, so I had to bring a lot of it back. But so after they restricted us for it, we had to get it out of there. So I'm really surprised, and they just restricted us on the unicorns a couple days ago, earlier this week. So I'm really curious to know what they're going to do. And I know one of the guys in our group suggested getting somebody in seller support to change over to another ASIN that was not, restricted. I don't know if you're gonna do that, if you're thinking about doing that, or
I don't know.
you're just
I don't
gonna.
know.
I know how you are. You're just gonna let it ride.
Pretty much am. I pretty much am. I I throw caution to the wind.
Oh,
Um,
I
I,
envy that.
you're getting better.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
getting better.
yeah. I mean, in this business, if you don't risk anything, you don't get. God, this phrase is so cliche, but without risk, there is no reward. And in this business, it couldn't be more true. You know.
Yeah, this one probably more so than a lot because you do take some pretty blind chances on a lot of stuff. Where it's just literally blind luck. And some of it's calculated, but there are a lot of this involved.
Well. All right. Well, I think the last thing we need to hit on before we get out of here, because we're almost at an hour 30. I think we're at hour 25 right now. Uh, would be sales rank of toys during Q4. Now, if you're a beginner seller, and you haven't been through a Q4 and you haven't sold toys through a Q4, it's hard to explain. Things go out of stock quickly, and sales ranks when you're looking to buy toys for Q4 in September, October, a toy can be in the 200, 300,000 sales rank range, which most other parts of the year, that's not a toy you want to pick up. That's not a fast moving toy. But things happen so rapidly in Q4 that a 200, 300,000 sales rank might be a quick seller come November, December. That thing may fly out of that warehouse. So just don't sleep on the high ranked toys. And you can always pull up a Keep a chart. You can always see, hey, this toy had a 200,000 rank for most of the year, and then that sucker dropped to 20,000 in into November. So don't overlook the stuff that you think is not sexy, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing that I haven't really. This is gonna be my first year selling Amazon toys, so that's something that I really don't have a ton of.
Pretty much me too. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
didn't have the experience. I could sell toys because I got in, I think, before the October
yeah,
deadline or something.
yeah. Which, if you don't know what that is, the Amazon does set a date to where you have to have had a sale in.
Oh, they'll know by now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you would have got an email.
But if they're listening to this in the future, yeah,
That's true. That's
you
true.
you will get an email that says that's funny, but I don't know, I'll go into that here in just a second. But you will get an email that says you are not eligible to sell toys because you haven't had. I can't remember what the threshold was. It was that you had to sell 25 items or something before September or something like that. I don't remember. But last year there was a glitch, and I don't remember when it was, but all of the people that got the email that said you're allowed to sell, got an automated email that said you are not allowed to sell toys this year. Oh, you talk about some people freaking out. Oh,
Yeah. So here's the email. Effective on October 17th, only sellers who meet the criteria listed below will be able to sell toys um, from October 17th, 2018 through January 5th, 2019. Your first sale on Amazon has to occur prior to August 18th, 2018.
oh wow,
It
so
does,
even sooner.
it does not have to be specific to the toys and game store. You have to process and ship at least 25 orders from August 1st, 2018 through October 1st, 2018. The orders do not have to be specific to the toys and game stores. Um, your, and then it goes into some merchant fulfill. Your late shipment rate, can't exceed 4%. So it's really not, it
I
doesn't look,
wonder why this is. Like, I wonder why that policy exists. I mean, I'm sure it's to streamline some things, but that's kind of almost like an arbitrary number. 25 shipments or 25 orders before, within that, what is it, 2 month period?
I don't know. I
Kind of
mean,
a weird, like, what
I
would
think,
that prove to Amazon?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe that you're not like a fraudulent, like maybe like a Chinese
True.
seller that's not, on the up and up, or I hate to.
Just hopping on Q4 to for fraud
Yeah,
purposes.
yeah, maybe.
Sell
Okay, so that I guess makes sense. I'm sure they're doing it for some reason.
sell a
Yeah,
bunch of fake toys, and I think the late shipment rate um has a lot to do with that, depending on where it's coming from. But
yeah.
yeah, I think there's so much fraud that happens, and even last year you saw the fake LOL balls that still made it on
I didn't.
Amazon.
I don't think. Did
Yeah,
I? I may have.
there's actually still fake listings for LOL balls on Amazon.
Really?
Where yeah, type in LOL balls and look for the ones that have 1-star reviews. And they're just the fake ones. It's like the
Wow.
fingerlings. Instead of fingerlings, it's finger monkeys. You know,
I
so
do remember those. I
yeah,
do remember that. God, they were showing up in dollar stores and all kind of places.
malls. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I guess I mean, I guess we're wrapped up on this one. We
I think next time I want to talk about eBay restrictions. That's gonna be a fun one.
oof. It's gonna be a sticky one. Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. We'll do that next time.
All right. Well, have a good night, and don't call me when you get up in the morning.
I won't.
Bye.